Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. 3-hour program lined up today. A lot of fun, a lot of action. Richie Baccellieri, longtime Vegas odds maker here at Circa Sports, in studio talking college football in 30 minutes. Best bets in that sport with Paul Stone coming up at 90. Derek Stevens in studio. Back end of the program, a lot of NFL, college football. We'll touch on Major League Baseball throughout the program as well. We'll hit what happened last night. Crazy game, Monday Night Football, but we do have some breaking news in the National Football League. The NFL is fining Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter more than $57,000 for spitting on Dak Prescott. And the league says the game that he was ejected for will serve as a one-game suspension. So he has decided not to appeal and focus on the Chiefs game. So because he missed it the entire game, the opener last Thursday, they're going to say that's the suspension. We're not going to give you any additional time off. But here's a $57,222 fine. Where's Dak's fine?
Yeah.
That coming anytime soon?
I know you'd say that.
Well, I mean,
I know.
look, the very first tweet.
I spit all the time, he says.
Yeah, sure, 1,000 times a game.
Uh-huh.
But the very first tweet under Adam Schefter's breaking news 4 minutes ago is that slow motion video of Dak Prescott between his two offensive linemen. I mean, my first reaction was, Dak, you're Woody Woodpecker here, Paulie, as you like to say. He was the instigator.
Yeah.
He spits down. I don't care what he's saying. He was lying his ass off after the game in that 2-minute interview, and I don't even know why he talked about it. But he spit directly at him, and then he looks up, and he gives him a head nod, and then he gets like the blank eating grin on his face from ear to ear right at Carter.
Yeah. I think the fine's excessive. I mean, and the Florida defensive tackle apologized yesterday, and he's got to live with the fact that he cost him the game. He was ejected, and he drew the 15-yard penalty that set up the game-winning 20-yard field goal. So maybe they go on to kick a field goal anyways. But he had a good quote about sportsmanship. I crossed the line. He apologized to South Florida, everyone. But that's we're on quite the run here after what we're doing with the spitting. So I thought the Alomar thing was just a one-time deal.
Yeah, evidently not.
This happened, but right. But yeah, sure. Certainly, it was stupid, and he missed the whole game anyways, and was a huge loss for the Eagles.
Sure, it was. Dak knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
So, are we going to remember last night's game as the J.J. McCarthy game?
No.
Like in a couple of years?
No, the Santos game. Santos killed him.
We're not going to remember this as the Santos game.
Yes.
No, we are not.
Oh, a guy had 150 yards, so we're going to put him in Canton? He's just about the first three quarters. Hell of a finish.
No, I know that. I understand that. But how he actually got better. And then this Vikings coaching staff is elite. I would take him over any other coaching staff in the entire league. Yeah, I said it. And
let's win a playoff game first.
Well, that's fine. Yeah. Once they got cooking, it was curtains for the Bears. So a lot happened last night. And boy, oh boy, the old takes or cold takes exposed, whatever that's called, on Twitter, going to have a field day.
Yeah.
Because people could not wait. They were pushing each other out of line last night to already bury J.J. McCarthy and put him 6 feet under.
What was that all about? Yeah, they were lined up and ready to go and hit send in the first quarter.
Absolutely.
And then the pick six was atrocious, but from all the pomp and circumstance and the fans so excited and Ben Johnson, the favorite to win Coach of the Year, to being booed off the field. And they blow the 17-6 lead, and the Vikings score 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and they lose. Damn, the Bears cannot get out of their own way. And what happens? Santos misses one, and then he can't kick it through the end zone, and he's told to kick it through the end zone. They probably don't get a stop anyways, or have enough time left, rather. But,
you never know. You can get a PI, whatever. We're going to hear from Ben Johnson coming up in a minute.
It was total domination. And then they lose the game. The Vikings were like 7-8-1 in play. And all of a sudden, guys wide open. Mason's getting chunks. Jefferson's eating the beautiful pass to Jones. But a play here and a play there, and they should have had a comfortable win. You turn down points. They pass on the field goal. Williams has the guy open. He misses him. He misses the field goal. A ridiculous PI call. Turn around. It's a running back. What are you doing?
I don't know if the Vikings win the game last night if that PI is not called.
You think so?
Terrible PI call.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Can't do that. And also, one of their offensive linemen got called. I mean, he basically whiffed on the defensive end, I think it was, and they called it a holding. That was horrible.
Yeah.
So the Bears, they had a zillion penalties last night and for a ton of yards. So they kind of killed themselves. But those 2 calls were absolutely massive. And I got one for you. What if, and again, that whole sequence at the very end was just brilliant, I thought. And Ben Johnson knew what he was doing. He told him to kick it out of the end zone. He couldn't. And then when you saw the slow motion of, was it Chandler looking over at the coaching staff? And then KOC goes like this. Come on, buddy. Bring it out. 2-minute warning.
Had to.
I thought that was so good, and he wanted to confirm because he was like 8 yards deep. But let's say for a second here, he pauses for like another split second. And by the way, the Vikings special teams last night were outstanding. If the Bears are down there a little bit quicker and they get him like at the 15-yard line, did you think about this? I think there's a real chance where Kevin O'Connell has J.J. McCarthy run around on one of those final plays to burn time and then take a safety, and the game could land on 1.
Okay.
I think that could have happened.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, my God, that landing spot.
It was a good conversation. It was an interesting discussion in play. Could you go onside? Could you kick it out of bounds? Could you do like kick it as hard as you can to one of the corners so he doesn't feel that it goes through the end zone without any time coming off? You know, we just saw this on Sunday night. I've been watching football for 45 years. I didn't know that we've never had the 1-point play ever. If Hamilton, if they take the knee or he gets tackled, that's 1 point
right
for the Bills. But that was an interesting discussion, and I thought Aikman was all over it. But that's a bad job by Santos and a killer. And there was some encouraging stuff. I trust Aikman on this. He pointed it out several times. I don't have access to the all-22. Apparently, the guys are open, and Williams won't take shots down the field. I mean, the guy, it's checking it down and not making the big throws, whatever. I also think the kid has to be more grounded. You saw a lot of penalties. I don't care for his interview before the game. Well, I'll be Superman when I have to be Superman, or something along the lines of that. After what he said last year to the punter about, you're not going to see much time. I mean, okay, you won 5 games, but it's going to take time with the penalties. You saw the pre-snap stuff, but it was encouraging. They did something they hadn't done all of last year. They go right down the field and score. They scored 24 points against what might be the best defense in the league. They lost a tough game, but the Vikings are better and they have a better roster. But there's a lot of things to fix and clean up, and I think the expectation should be high with the Bears. And I know the fans let them have it, and rightfully so. You can't lose that game. But there's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad. But the takeaway is what McCarthy did in the fourth quarter, and it looks like the Vikings are in good hands.
Caleb Williams was really good, scripted early on. After that, I thought he was kind of stinking up the joint. And I'll say this after one game, I'll take J.J. McCarthy over Caleb Williams already.
Oh, no.
Oh, no question.
Oh,
Paul, did you
God.
watch the fourth quarter, how athletic this guy is? He's got an absolute cannon for an arm.
Williams is too. Keeps a lot of plays alive.
Give me KOC and J.J. McCarthy all day, every day over Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. And in fact, one game in, I was already kind of strong on this before the season. This division comes down to 2 teams, Green Bay and Minnesota. It's going to go down to those 2 teams, and that's it. I'm so strong on that already.
I thought that was interesting that Ben Johnson goes for it immediately, 4th and 3, and passes on the field goal. So maybe it was Johnson all this time with the onions, telling Campbell what to do. I don't know. Maybe Campbell gets found out and exposed here in a couple weeks. That's a great game on Sunday now with Johnson going back to Detroit. But I think the future's bright, and they look good, and it looked like a complete outfit from top to bottom, and it's too bad the defense let them down also in the fourth quarter. 24 points at home, you're supposed to win that game.
Well, the defense was great for 3 quarters. Where was the offense after the first quarter?
Yeah.
So here's Ben Johnson on that final kickoff, and there was a back and forth here. They thought about everything. Here he is to the media after the game.
Were you hoping that kick was going to go out of the end zone?
Yeah, the intent was for the ball to go out of the end zone.
And was there, did you guys consider onside kick? I mean, how did that?
Yeah, it did. We felt like if we had kicked it out of the end zone and gotten the 3 and out that we got, we would get the ball back with around 56 seconds.
So they thought about everything.
Damn.
I don't know if I'd have Santos on my roster after that.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
Can't kick it out of the end zone, pal?
Yeah.
Got to do one thing? Come on.
I got you. I hear you. That's fair. That's a bad job. He was a big reason they lost the game. And I like that we're not a lot of patience here. Moody, cut. Cool. We're bringing in competition. Can't lose games like this. Can't miss kicks.
Another question, by the way, that I have for Ben Johnson. They burned timeout number 2 to talk about a 3rd down and 1 by the Vikings. Horrible timeout right there. They could have used that late. That would have been a big one to have in pocket. So no reason to take that time out whatsoever. And I know I had one, the McCarthy prop went over the rushing yards. That beautiful play to get him into the end zone was just exquisite.
Yeah.
And I bet Jordan Mason didn't score last night, never really had a chance, but touchdowns are coming, rest assured, for him. Here's the reason why. He had 15 of the 23 rushing attempts by Minnesota last night, 100% snap rate in the red zone, 57% snap rate versus 47 for Aaron Jones, and 42 of his 45 yards gained after initial contact. There's a clear difference here, and he's going to have to be like the workhorse guy. And that's going to, obviously, like he's going to score. Charchin was right about this. That guy's going to score. I don't know what the number is, but he's going to score a bunch of touchdowns this year.
All right. I respect your opinion, but be careful. Because we went crazy with Mac Jones a couple years ago, too. The kid looks to be the real deal. But I think we want to say these guys are going to be awesome
I'm
right
still
away.
waiting to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to see it from Caleb Williams. Still waiting.
Well, what grade would you give him?
A C minus?
Yesterday, yeah?
Overall.
Okay.
Last year to right now,
Well, yeah,
C
I
minus
know.
or D plus.
He struggled last year, but I thought the coaching staff was horrendous. I think he's going to have a good year and could be a good player, but also that's something.
You also have to realize, Paulie, that it was going to take a minute for JJ to get going. First ever
that's
game.
Fair. Yeah, sure. But Aikman can see the whole field. I can't. So if he's saying he's missing throws and guys are there, that's something he's got to fix and correct.
College football next. Point spread keeps dropping like a rock, and you can see why the market has been moving in the home team's direction. We'll tell you which one coming up here on Follow the Money.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We'll continue talking college football here. Richie Baccellieri joins us here on the desk in studio, live, Circa Sports, longtime Las Vegas odds maker. Good to see you. Stevie the Pencil, how are you?
Guys, great to be here with you. My two favorite degenerates.
Good to see you, buddy.
I
got the Rover coming in today. Physical Graffiti, your favorite album.
50 years.
Yeah.
I went to go see Bonham do the 50 years down in one of the casinos. Great show.
Yeah.
Let's start.
Nice toothpick.
What is this? The toothpick?
UL Washington. You guys are too young to remember UL.
Yes.
Okay, let's start with this. We just talked about the
Royals?
upcoming game between South Carolina and Vanderbilt, right? And how they each have a common opponent. So I find this to be intriguing, Richie, right? It's early on in the season, only week 3, and they each play the same team. Vanderbilt last week absolutely destroyed Vatech. On the flip side, in week 1, South Carolina was up against it, right? And Vatech gave them a run for their money there. They eventually covered in that game. This opened up, 7? Now down to like as low as 4.5. What do you make of all of it?
Yeah, well, I don't look at the outcomes of those games, but what I do look at is the line movement. And, South Carolina opened about 9 down to 7 against Virginia Tech. So it was definitely money against the Hokies. Then you look at the next game, Virginia Tech comes pick against Vandy. So now we're looking at Vandy being, 2-3 points better on a neutral field. So that alone tells me that the game's got to be less than 7. I don't know how it opened 7. I took 7. I made it 4. Probably is somewhere in the middle. I think it's been all dog money, so there's people following that recipe of, playing a game against the lines. But outcomes don't matter.
Mm-hmm. We do this a lot in college basketball.
Yeah.
This team won by 30 at home, and then they beat them on the road by 10. Why is the game only 2 in a conference tournament?
Yeah, well, I like to compare the teams with the common opponents and the prices. And, of course, over time, the ratings are going to change over time. But if you're talking about a short window, then you can definitely take the two lines and compare and make a price from there and see what's posted.
Well, okay, but how much have you dinged Clemson through 2 games?
Say again?
You must have lowered Clemson at least a couple of points by now.
Clemson, they still got a football team. Who they beat? Troy mothers of whatever they're called. I lowered Clemson 3 points since the start. I've had some people tell me before the season that Klubnik kid ain't all that great. I don't know if it's in the locker room or not, but it's showing. I mean, he's not really playing all that great.
Right.
Good to have friends.
Yeah. We do a better coaching job, too, I'll tell you that. How about Georgia open 7? All nothing but Tennessee, money down to 3.5.
Yeah, well, when you score 28 against Austin Peay, it figures in the first week against Marshall, who's looking like a real dog.
Right.
You know, they didn't cover that number either. I think they got backdoored, but, you know, they put up 40. They're supposed to put up 70. Look at some of these games last week. The power team scored, 60 to 75 points. Georgia's offense might be the problem. I think the defense is going to be intact as always, but, I made that game lower too. I think I made Georgia 3, and I thought that was high.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I made Georgia 3, and I thought that was a little high.
Now we're talking. All right. So what do you do in terms of body clock games? Like Oregon is playing at 9 in the morning against Northwestern. BC's playing 10:30 at Stanford.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good angle. I mean, heading east is typically the problem more than the west. I wouldn't see BC having any problems playing at 7:30 Pacific time, but Oregon's got to play with the early game. Yeah. What time is that game?
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
9 a.m. Vegas.
Yeah.
9 a.m. Vegas. So they play in, early game. Heading east. It's a go against. I think I bet against it. Is that Northwestern?
28,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, I took 28 or 28 and a half there. I made that lower.
Well, then how much did they put in that game against Oklahoma State? Because Gundy's calling out Oregon and Dan Lanning, and you could tell that he was on a mission to bury him in that spot.
They're probably pretty bad, Oak State. I think that's really the end. That's the end of the story for that game. They're bad, and Oregon wanted to put up a big number.
Okay, what have you done with South Florida? What a resume so far. Great numbers. Of course, beating Florida at the gun basically last week on the road, but also really taking it to Boise in week 1. And now here you go, their third really stiff test of the year at Miami this weekend.
Yeah, I've got the game 14. I had the game last week 12 at Florida. So now I got a 14 against Miami, or Miami 14. And I see it's up to 17 and a half now.
18, yeah, some spots, 18.
Yeah. I've raised South Florida 4 points, which is a pretty good upgrade after 2 games. But they had 2 great games. I mean, they beat the crap out of Boise, and Florida played obviously. They kept the game low scoring, and they got there. So I could take 18. I probably will.
You take 18?
I think when I was looking at the games on Sunday, it opened lower. It opened like 15 and a half or 16 or something.
Yep.
And I had a feeling it would go up. I mean, surprisingly, there wasn't a whole lot of Florida money against them, on last weekend. So I think it was mixed. A lot of split opinions. These sharp guys, they can have split opinions.
Sure, of course.
So games like that, they definitely split there. Miami was. I took Beth Cook, 58 and a half or so against Miami. Just looked like a dead spot. Dead spots are.
Sandwich game. Yeah.
Well, they come off that game. He's the greatest quarterback to ever play, that Beck kid, right? Yeah. And they got Beth Cookman, and he played a half. And they coasted. Dog was never in trouble. Loved the FCS. Loved the trash.
Well,
love the trash.
Same thing with LSU, right? Off that big win in week 1 against Clemson.
Tech took 37 and a half, never a sweat. Matter of fact, that's a game I need to look at. Why, what happened to LSU? I mean, geez.
Uh-huh.
So
does Florida bounce back? Or is maybe, like Mitch said, Clemson's not that good, and LSU, nice job. But
made it 8.5.
Okay.
And typically when you got 120 games you got to do, when you make a game where it's at, you kind of forget about it till the weekend. There's nothing, like, you can't look at all these games.
Yeah, unless the number goes crazy, you're not even going to.
Exactly. You just can't spend the time doing it.
Okay, so A&M right now catching 7 at Notre Dame. Do we know the status here of Marcel Reed? Are things looking up for him, the quarterback?
Probable.
Probable?
That's what I heard.
His dad's saying like he's going to play.
His dad? How about his mom? What did mom say?
I looked it up today, and they're like, the dad said he's going to be good to
go. I love you
go.
with all of my heart.
So if he goes...
I'm going to cry.
Do you think the Aggies here are a live dog?
I took 7.
You did?
I took 7. I made that game lower, too. I can't remember offhand, but I made that game lower.
What are your biggest differences this week?
Well, starting with Friday, I got a couple of big differences. I noticed some split opinions on the Houston game. That's been going back and forth between 4 and 6. I laid 4. I made the game 11.
Oh, wow.
Well, look at Houston, a couple of games. I mean, I don't think, they beat Rice. The game was a little closer. I did have Rice, so I had Houston lower against Rice, yet I still got it this high in this spot. I think their first game, can't remember who they played in their first game, but I think they covered that as well. The defense, I think it was a shutout, but I think the defense is going to be there for them. I'll lay 4 all day.
All day.
Okay. But you don't know. Once again, we talked about games being phonied up and moving numbers around, and this thing went 6-4, I think twice already. So there's nobody. Look, if you want to bet big money on these games, you ain't doing it on Monday.
Sure.
I mean, so you're maneuvering. You're trying to set a number up. I got to think laying 4 is a good side, but I've heard there's fake money on the favorite. So I don't know. I think it's a split opinion.
Okay.
Matter of fact, my arch nemesis, what's his name? Paul Stone.
Paul Stone coming up in an hour. Yeah.
Little birdie told me he might like the dog. See, I get around. I say, "Who's that guy like?" He says he likes the dog.
Good job.
So I think it's going to be another game. It's split.
How about K-State favored at Arizona? You should have lost to North Dakota, and then you lose to Army?
You must be looking at my sheets. I made Arizona 5.
Wow.
So I took a point, and I know that it pretty much Sunday night, it swung down to, I think Chris had 1.5 on Sunday night, and it settled in at 1. Is it still 1?
Yeah.
I haven't got a screen like you got. You got the fancy screen. You see all the lines.
I'm seeing multiple 1.5s out there here in Las Vegas.
1.5 on
right
Arizona.
now.
Yeah, I can only go up. I don't know.
No, K-State favored.
K-State's favored.
Oh,
Yeah.
so they moved it back to.
Oh.
Oh, they moved it back to K-State now. Oh, so I got a bad number, is what you're telling me. Thanks a lot.
It's all right. As long as it doesn't come 1, fine.
Well, that's all right. I seem to win more bets on bad numbers than good numbers.
Yeah.
You know, you get the best of the numbers, and that's great. Except if it don't win, then you're in the poorhouse.
We have about a minute left here. Any other numbers that really stick out this week? Like you made Ohio a favorite last week against West Virginia. They got the job done. They're catching 3.5.
Yeah, nice.
Good
I
job.
had one winner, and that was it. I'm against Oklahoma.
Oh.
I took the big number with Temple.
Yeah, Temple. Yep.
You know, it's an ugly road trip. Can you imagine Oklahoma going to Philadelphia or Jersey, whatever the hell that school is, somewhere around there? And it's a big number. I know they got a big monster next week, right? Auburn or something. So they got a big game next week, you know, coming off some games, and now they got to travel to Temple, who's playing good. Look, Temple had 2 games. I'm sorry, is it Temple or Rutgers?
No, they're playing. It's Oklahoma Temple.
You're
Yeah,
right. You're right.
Yeah.
Look, it's a big number. It's a sandwich spot. I took the points.
Okay.
Good explanation. I'm with you on that.
Oh, when you got 120 games to look at, you know, you can't. What are you going to do?
By the way, I know you're lying about Ohio being your only winner because I saw you last week. You couldn't come on the air. You had like 3 winners that were never a sweat.
Yeah, well, the games that really buried me last week were those extra games.
Okay.
I got buried in the middle games. The FCS was fantastic. I had some great plays in the FCS.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
All right, man.
Richie Baccellieri, win some, lose some, coming up next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Coming up in 15 minutes, Mitch and Paulie's Pizzeria. Tip jar is open. Your long shot bets will go over. We will discuss at that time. Right now, we head out to the Progressive Guest Line as professional sports bettor Paul Stone joins the program. You can follow him on X at Paul Stone Sports. Good afternoon, pal. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Doing well, guys. Just excited for another weekend of college football. Going to be a great one.
Totally agree. And a lot of big games on the docket, a lot of marquee games as well, including this clash in the SEC as the Dogs, Georgia, they take on Tennessee. This is going to be in Knoxville and opened up much higher. I think some books had it around 7, down to 3.5 or 4 right now. How did you bet this game?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Mitch, make no mistake about it. I think virtually everyone, including myself, had Georgia ranked in their preseason top 5. And make no mistake about this as well. I think after a pair of mostly uninspiring victories over featherweights Marshall and Austin Peay, the Bulldogs have looked like anything but a viable national championship contender to this point. I mean, looking at this past weekend's game, Georgia manages 28 points, averaged less than 5 yards a carry against Austin Peay. And against an FCS team of that caliber, you need to run the football a little bit better than that. As a point of reference, last year, Austin Peay opened the season against Louisville. The Cardinals won that game 62-0 and gained 571 yards.
Wow.
I know this is a different season, but that just kind of gives you a little comparison there. The look-ahead line, as you mentioned in this game, was 7.5, and now currently sits at 3.5. So the public, the betting public, has certainly waned in its enthusiasm for Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs. But sometimes when the market bobs, I'll weave, and this is one of those times. So why am I going to side with Georgia when few others are supporting the Bulldogs. You know, first of all, this is not my main point, but Georgia's won 8 straight games in this series. Mm-hmm. They've covered 6 straight, so history's on its side. But really, the impetus, the main point for me liking Georgia in this game is I think the Dogs are going to get after new Tennessee quarterback Joey Aguilar. He's a guy who had turnover tendencies in 2 seasons as the starter at Appalachian State. There at Appalachian State, he threw a total of 24 interceptions in 2 seasons. And he also, there at Appalachian State last year, or in those 2 years, rather, I should say, had 51 turnover-worthy plays, according to Pro Football Focus. Last year alone in 2024, his 5.4% turnover-worthy play rate. Last season, it was 3rd worst among the 14 quarterbacks in the Sun Belt Conference. To be fair, in the spirit of total transparency, he also had 26 big-time throws as defined by Pro Football Focus. So he's a guy, what that tells me, he's got that gunslinger's mentality. I mean, he's got an arm. He believes in it. He'll try to put that ball in tight spots. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. I think Georgia, they're a team that can expose his turnover vulnerability. Syracuse and East Tennessee State, the first 2 teams that he faced this year as Tennessee's new quarterback, they really didn't have that capability. Georgia's still, they might not be as good as they were 3 or 4 years ago in the front 7, but they still got a bunch of blue chips up there. I think they're going to get in Aguilar's grill. They're going to make life tough on him. Georgia's going to win the turnover battle. They're going to win this game by 4 points or more. I like the Dogs over the Vols, -3.5.
Very good. Good breakdown. I'm with you on that one. Saturday night, Notre Dame off licking their wounds against Miami, although Carr played well. A&M beat Utah State and UTSA. How about A&M against Notre Dame? Irish 6.5, 7.
Yeah, Notre Dame, awful loss, awful bye.
Yep.
And on the ropes as far as their playoff hopes go for year 2025. They dropped that season opener at Miami 27-24, and now they can obviously ill afford to start the season 0-2 if they wish to make a repeat trip to the college football playoff. It's probably the game of these 3 selections that I like the most, and there are several reasons I like Notre Dame against the Aggies on Saturday in South Bend. First of all, redshirt freshman quarterback C.J. Carr is making his second start. He's going to be better than he was in his first start against Miami 2 weeks ago. And he really, the last 20 minutes, if you look at those alone, he was better at the end of the game than he was at the beginning. I do concede that Miami probably loosened up their defense a little bit because they were ahead. But in the final 20 minutes against Miami, Carr completed 10 of 14 passes for 159 yards and a touchdown, also threw an interception, and then he did some damage with his legs as well, ran the ball 5 times for 36 yards, scored on that 7-yard touchdown run. So he really played well in the final 20 minutes of the game against Miami. He'll be even better against Texas A&M. Notre Dame, they can run the football. They didn't run it all that effectively against Miami, but they've got one of the best tandems in the nation in Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. That duo combined for almost 1,900 yards rushing last year. And I think they're going to be able to run the ball against a Texas A&M defense that gave up 201 yards rushing in its opener against Texas San Antonio. The Roadrunners averaged 6.2 yards per carry against the Aggies. I think Notre Dame's going to run the ball, a small sample size, but additionally, the Irish, the last 2 seasons, are 4-0 against the spread off a straight-up loss. Over that same term, they're also 8-4 against the spread as a home favorite. I just love, I love Texas A&M this year, too. I've talked about the fact that I think they're a dark horse contender for the playoff, but I just believe this situation heavily favors a Notre Dame team that's really backed into a corner, has to win the game. I think they win by more than 7. They win by double digits. I like the Irish -7 over the Aggies.
Strong. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, professional sports bettor Paul Stone. He's on the Progressive guest line. This is a juicy matchup based on Florida losing last week as huge favorites against South Florida. And now they get LSU because, I think there's a chance Clemson might be bad this year or worse than we all thought. And then LSU, letdown spot, I don't know, but they had no chance of covering last week against La Tech, and they're kind of laying a big number here, more than a touchdown. So how did you approach this game, Paul?
I'm going to look at the total here, Mitch. And, entering the season, I really liked the additions through the portal that LSU made, especially on defense. They added defensive ends, Patrick Payton from Florida State, Jack Pyburn from Florida, from the University of Florida, added a defensive back from Houston, A.J. Halsey, added cornerback Mansour Delane from Virginia Tech. So just a lot of additions, and they've been better than I even thought. They've exceeded expectations in their opening victories over Clemson and Louisiana Tech. They've allowed in those two games a total of just 17 points, an average of just 207.5 yards a game, and only 3.6 yards per play. So guys like Delane, they have blended nicely with the holdovers such as Harold Perkins Jr., who's really playing well, much like he did his freshman year. So that LSU defense, man, they're hitting on all cylinders. You look at LSU's offense, though, they obviously returned veteran quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, but they're having to replace two outstanding offensive tackles. One of those, Will Campbell, the 4th overall pick this past April in the NFL draft. They have struggled without those offensive tackles, and for other reasons too, I'm sure. LSU in these first two games, they've struggled running the football. They're averaging just 118 yards per game rushing, only 3.6 yards per carry. I mean, Louisiana Tech last year, they were good on defense, make no mistake about it. But they're in Conference USA, and they lost a lot of people. But on Saturday against LSU, Louisiana Tech had 3 sacks and 8 tackles for loss.
Wow.
I mean, that's really a big statistic in my mind. LSU only wins that game 23-7. You look at Florida, man, they were stunned last week by in-state team South Florida, 18-16 on that final second field goal by South Florida's Nico Gramatica. They need to bounce back in the worst way, and I think they're gonna come out fighting again, much like Notre Dame. Their backs are against the wall. They're going to come out and fire their best shot. And if they're going to be in this game at Death Valley in the fourth quarter, it's going to be because of their defense, not their offense. Dating back to late last season, in their last 6 games, Florida's only given up an average of 11.6 points per game. Their last 6 games have all gone under the total. I think this one's going to go under the total as well. Points are going to be at a premium Saturday in Baton Rouge. Give me the under 48.5, Florida. LSU.
Great breakdown. In like 30 seconds here, did you do anything with South Florida and Miami?
I didn't. Right now it's 17.5. I actually made it 14.5. I sent a email to a guy who's got access to a database, and it's so unique. South Florida wins as a dog as a 5.5 point underdog. Then they beat Florida 17.5 point, and now they're getting 17.5. How does that team perform in that third game? I would think they probably don't perform that well, but man, it's hard to stay off South Florida. They might be a team on a mission under Alex Golish. Probably my favorite game of the week as far as a spectating event. If I'm on it, I'm going to be on South Florida, but as of right now, I'm not involved.
Very good. You can follow him on X. He is at Paul Stone Sports. Thanks for the time as always. Great analysis, and best of luck this week, Paul.
Hey, same to you. Have a great weekend.
Back at you. And he was on the Progressive Guest Line. Up next, we'll take a stroll inside Mitch and Paulie's Pizzeria. We'll break some bread, have a slice. Tip jar is open. Long shot bets we shall discuss next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. Every week at this time, the owner and the CEO of Circa Las Vegas, Derek Stevens, joins the program in studio. Today is no exception. Good to see you again, pal. How are you?
Oh, good. Good to see you guys.
We'll get into the Survivor stuff and contest stuff coming up in a minute. I just asked Paulie the question, what do you think Derek's level of concern will be with the Lions as a lifelong fan after 1 week? What is it?
Oh, I've thought Lions are going to have a tough year. I mean, they've got a tough schedule. This information I learned on VSiN listening to you about Jared Goff was release was a little long. Then maybe there's a Ben Johnson Ben Johnson problem there. Ben Johnson going to Chicago might be good for nobody. I mean, might hurt the Lions, and maybe he doesn't have the personnel in Chicago. So I don't know. The Lions did not look good. Gibbs couldn't break out. There's a lot of problems there.
10 catches, 31 yards.
It's incredible.
I mean, dink and dunk the entire time. What are we watching?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was really surprised they didn't run Jameson Williams out there. Like, I mean, how do you stretch the field a little bit? I mean, you had one play to Laporta. Like, they didn't use Laporta. They didn't really use J-Mo. Slog got something at the end, but nothing really. It was a tough game.
Be tough to use him in Survivor Sunday. Laying 6 to the Bears. That's a tough matchup now, an intriguing game.
Yeah, laying 6 is a very interesting number. Yeah, big number.
Yeah, right, like a lot of them. So, biggest surprise for you, what transpired with all the contests and over the weekend. Let's start with Saturday night. Was it the 24 no picks or that every team was used?
Yeah, I think every team being used. I've said it on a few different shows. Last year there were 31 teams selected for Circa Survivor in week 1, and I don't understand why. I don't know. Somebody said maybe the term being a little too cute. You can't win Circa Survivor on week 1. I don't understand the reason to take an underdog. I think people that played correctly, top 7 selections made it to week 2, and I think that's the way it should be. If you're going to take an underdog, let's just say you took New Orleans and they won. Okay, so if they would have won, so now we're in week 2, big deal. How much advantage do you have? Nothing really, So, no, I thought picking all 32 teams didn't make sense to me. It's actually something I'm going to talk about next year because it's kind of a layup to people that play properly.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's a prop for you this week. More teams selected or more no picks week 2?
Oh, I like it.
More teams selected. Oh, throwing me on the spot here. Let me think about this. We do have a concern on the no picks for week 2. I will tell you why, and I'll say it here. Hopefully we can mitigate it. I think that Jeff Benson said he expects more no picks in week 2 because a lot of people that signed up in the last 4 days before cutoff did it here at the kiosk. They had to get it in and all that. This is going to be their first time they have to put their picks in, through their proxy or whatnot. They're going to forget what proxy they utilized or they're going to forget who to call. Jeff said, or forget what the deadline is. So Jeff knows that on week 2 at 9 a.m., our service department's going to get a number of emails and phone calls saying, hey, I want to try to put my pick in and saying I missed it. Because a lot of people don't, they were here. They weren't thinking about what the deadline was. So there could be some issues. So I think you're going to have a good amount of no picks next week. Okay, excellent. Also, you've been very active on social media, as always, Instagram and also X. Great job with the Golden Gate, which we'll get to. How about this? And I think this needs to be said. You tweeted out, great job to everyone with a record-setting 55% increase in the contest entries. And I think your credit to your staff. Get them in, get them out, sign up, no problem, in and out in 5 minutes. Incredible job. Yeah, they did a great job. I mean, we got swamped. I mean, last year, total amount of 20 million of entries between the two contests. This year, 31.3 million. I mean, that kind of blew everybody away. I had nothing to do with Jeff Benson doing this self-deprecating deal of this Save Jeff campaign. Right. And one of the guys in the back had some AI with him dancing around with a cardboard sign out front of Circa. It was pretty funny looking. But when I saw it, he didn't tell me he was going to do it. I'm like, oh, man, I got thrown in. Next thing you know, my DMs are lighting up. Like, don't do it. If you do it, like, wait a second, I got nothing to do with it. It's kind of hard to communicate sarcasm through X, I guess. So had to put that out there. That it's hard to communicate that. But Jeff did a great job, and we got a few extra bonuses in there.
All right. How about the Grandissimo? Come on now.
69. Are
69.
You kidding me?
I can't believe it.
$6.9 million in this thing. I blew away all expectations. I mean, somebody said, would you ever get to that number? I mean, I thought we had a chance at 20, maybe 25. I just didn't realize there'd be this many people coming out of the woodwork wanting to participate in something like this. So it's good. It's been a lot of fun. Pretty amazing. 69 for 69 on opening week. That's pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was all good.
Did you ever think that you would put together a contest where 10,000 people are going to chop at the end of the year?
I think there's going to be enough people saying no chop, so I think we'll be all right.
Did you text Dana White to get in?
Yeah, Dana was in Maine, going out to Sturgis, and then he's back. He's floating in the middle of the Bellagio fountain yesterday for the promo commercial. So
for the fight.
He's got a few things cooking.
How much handle are you expecting on that fight? This has to be the biggest fight in Vegas in several years.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a reason you could say this will be the biggest fight ever. Handle-wise, I mean, what Canelo brings, inflation, there's more money out there now. I think maybe it's not as sexy as, an older Tyson fight or a Holyfield.
De La Hoya, Mayweather.
Yeah, De La Hoya, Trinity, those fights of 20 years ago. But I would say handle-wise, I would bet this is the biggest fight ever. And obviously the crowd coming in, I mean, room rates in Las Vegas are through the roof, so it's going to be a hell of a weekend.
Yeah, no question, yeah. What about the Golden Gate over the weekend?
Yeah.
I have not walked through it yet. Paulie asked me today, he's like, you won't even,
Yeah, we got a project, we got our work cut out. We did something on Tuesday. We're moving all of our dancing dealers and all of our entire table departments moved into Circa here or moved into the D. And we are actively working for a total of 13 days, getting ready for our launch on September 19th. We're excited about developing a new concept called The Night Starts Here. 6 p.m., 7 nights a week, open bar. Just get in line. Everybody gets an envelope with some mystery free play.
Whoa!
6 to 7. We're going to jam the place. It's going to be champagne flowing everywhere. And we're going to start everybody's night off. Whatever you're doing. If you're going to a show, you could be going to a sporting event, could be going to a dinner, just could be going gambling out of the town. But Las Vegas is the oldest building in Vegas. It's where Vegas started. So we kind of think this new Your Night Starts Here campaign matches up. So we got a lot of things up our sleeve at Golden Gate, trying to turn it into a high-end speakeasy.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Interesting. And you said last week you see it as like a big, cool, high-limit area, like the whole place?
Yeah, we got a ton of new machines coming in. A lot of people are talking about electronic table games. Yeah, we're going to have a lot more of those. But we have a lot of other games, too. I mean, we're going to have $1 million Dragon Links, $250,000 Dragon Links. What's the new one everybody loves? Spooky Links right now? Spooky, is that right?
Yeah, Frankenstein, too?
Yeah. I mean, so it's a pretty broad range. But the whole thought process is free champagne for everybody, free drinks for everybody, free play for everybody. Right. Your night starts here. You have so many people coming to Vegas every single, whether it's a Tuesday or a Friday. A lot of people, it's their first night in Vegas. You come here, it's a great way to kick your night off. I remember you kick your night off. When I was coming out here when I was younger, you kick your night off, you catch for me, it was a hot craps table. Nowadays, a lot with slots. A little hand-paid jackpot to get your night off and running. Yeah. Walking around house money, it's a good night.
Yeah. Is that the Mummy game? Where the mummy comes out all wrapped up? Is it spooky?
Yeah, there was that's a Mo Mummy, right?
Oh, that's Mo.
Okay. Was that Mo Mummy?
Oh, you got it.
Well, there's like 4 Mo Mummy.
Okay.
If you could play this Survivor contest, would Baltimore be the automatic go-to for you?
Absolutely. I mean, on the show I do with Tim and Matt Humans, for me, for fun, I did 10 Eagles, and absolutely, you can see my board right here. I mean, I got it mapped out. It is.
Hey, hold it up. Put it up there. You get these.
You got okay.
Very clear. That's what I had mapped out. Ravens. Okay. I'm going all Ravens. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I like the spot for the Ravens. This is when you'd use them.
So we had 7,000 last week on Denver. You think we'll have more than 7,000 this week on Baltimore?
Yeah, one moment in time, there's over $10 million on Bo Nix. I think we'll set an all-time record in Survivor contest history. There'll be more money on Lamar Jackson this weekend than anyone's ever had.
Great to see you again.
You too.
Have a good week. In Pocket Plays coming up next.